Okay, here to finish up our Annelida discussion with the last group. So we introduce now the Hirudinae, the leeches. Of these groups, I think you may have heard of these. Most people haven't heard of polychaetes, but many people have heard of the Hirudinae, the leeches. So a lot of the same things that apply to the oligochaetes and the polychaetes apply to the leeches. They have very similar internal anatomy. They're hermaphroditic. Again, they do a lot of the same things that the other species do, except that we associate leeches with the idea of being parasites. They're ectoparasitic forms. So mostly freshwater, but some can live in marine environments. We know the medicinal leech. There's some other species, they lack parapodia. They don't have the extensions that the polychaetes would have. They have modified teeth structures that enable them to cut, to pierce the skin of their hosts to extract blood. And again, they are hermaphroditic, and unlike the polychaetes, they do have a clitellum that appears, but only during the breeding season. Right? So internally, we see again the crop. We see the both sexes, the female aspect, the male aspect. So again, we see these the metamerism, their body segments as somites. We have an anterior sucker, anterior sucker, and a posterior sucker down below. So this is the head region and then the tail region. Those suckers are used for attachment, to suction on to their hosts. Just a variety of pictures here. Let's get into the discussion of medicinal leeches. If we were around in medieval days, right? We were somewhere in England during the 1500s, 1400s, 1300s, and we were sick. The knowledge of medicine wasn't what it is today. So if you were sick in those old days, they thought, oh, you have something wrong with your blood. Your blood is bad. So then you would be leeched. They would put leeches on the body to drain us out of the bad blood, right? We know that's probably not, the right thing to do today, but they didn't know any better back then. When the leeches attach to the host, they will then they have like 3 teeth, 1, 2, and 3, and they'll use these to cut and scrape, puncture the host, which could technically be very uncomfortable. And the host, if the host sees that happening or feels it happening, they might sort of remove that leech, not allowing the leech to feed. So to help the leech's cause, they secrete a natural anesthetic agent. They kind of numb the area. And then also, when we get cut, we bleed for a little while, then it clots. Well, that's not going to help the leech feed. They need the blood to remain in the liquid state, the fluid state. So they release this anticoagulant that we call Hirudin. Hirudin is a natural anticoagulatory substance produced from the leech. I don't know if you maybe have an older relative that's having some heart issues, and they can be placed on Coumadin, which is a trademark name from what we call warfarin. It's a different type of blood thinner, a type of anticoagulant. Well, that has its basis in this natural substance, this natural chemical that we call Hirudin. Hirudinae, the leech, produces Hirudin, the substance, the natural anticoagulant substance. So the leech is attached, the host wouldn't feel it, and our blood would be very liquidy, not able to clot in that area and continue to flow, which would enable this leech to feed. So feeding from the anterior sucker and attached with the posterior sucker as well. So I found these on the web, stole these from the internet. These are the 3 teeth-like structures that the leech uses. And again, you can see up close, they're kind of serrated. So this would wiggle back and forth. This one will wiggle back and forth, causing like that sort of three lined injury there, which would then allow that leech to suction and feed off of that bite. So medieval days, they used to use leeches, but we still see leeches in modern medicine as well today. So they're not used by every doctor. They're not used in all situations, but there's some situations where it's very critical to maintain blood flow. Very fine areas of reattachment if this person's lost a finger, so there's no blood flow there. So the blood vessels have to be reconstructed. Leeches would be placed to help suction, to keep blood clots from happening, to allow oxygenation of these areas. So again, due to the anticoagulants, vessels are dilated and blood is thinned. So we can better enable blood flow, which will reduce swelling, bring in nutrients for healing, bring in oxygen, which is vital, right? So again, anytime there's blood accumulation, we want that to be able to circulate and cycle, and that is when leech therapy can be used here. So I'm not sure how or why that would be useful. It would make more sense to me in these situations here. So reattachment of digits, again, not the clearest pictures, but you can see leeches helping to keep circulation going in some of these injuries there. So with that, that will conclude our discussion on the annelids. I'll upload these and I'll put a lot of supplemental videos that will kind of elaborate more on some of this stuff. So with that, y'all have a great one and I'll see you next time.